Okay, now we've seen basically where the menus and the different areas of Gmail are. We're going to take a little bit of time to understand some of the organization. Okay, so let's start with archive and delete. This is a super important concept. It might sound kind of silly, but it's very important. Any message that you have, like I'm looking at this one from Monica right here, I go to it, I can archive it or delete. You should know that if you archive it, it goes away, it gets out of your field of vision, makes things cleaner and clearer for you, but it's not gone. You can still search for it and find it. It's still there, it's just not in your inbox. Okay? So delete means you're throwing it in the trash, and 30 days after that point that you put it in the trash, it will be gone forever. So you have to use that carefully. From a professional standpoint, I use archive almost exclusively. Unless I really know that the thing is never going to be an issue again, I would delete it perhaps, but archive is what I use kind of on a regular basis. So right now, you can see I've got quite a few unread messages in here. You can tell by the bold. Other messages that have been read, different things. They're in my inbox right now. If I scroll down, I can see starred. I have starred only 1 or 2 things in here so far. Snooze, we're going to talk about that in a second. Sent, drafts, more, and all email. So back to this archive thing. So if I go back to my inbox, generally speaking, you want to clean up. You don't want to have a lot of unread or even read messages in your inbox. You want to get rid of them or hide them from your view, which means archive. Okay, so there's lots of ways you can look at these emails. If you go to this little gear up here, which is a setting, you can move from default to comfortable. You can see it you can see the subtle difference there where you don't see the attachments. Compact squeezes as many emails as you can onto the screen. So that's a density setting. Themes let you change the background to different images and that type of thing. I don't like that, but you certainly are welcome to change that. So settings, as I scroll down, there's one that I should talk about that I like the best. Okay, this is called Priority Inbox. I'm going to click on that and then close that, and you can see what it does. It does take some explanation to understand it, though. It marks 3 sections. You have 3 different areas of your what you read now, your inbox, if you will. The first one is important and unread. These are messages that you have marked important by, you see that little flag right next to the name there? If you've marked it important, it'll show up there. And Google's smart enough to know if you mark a message from one person important and they send you another message, chances are it's important too. So it'll do it automatically. So it'll start putting all your sort of what it considers important unread messages are going to appear at the top. This is pretty cool because Google gets smarter and smarter and better at this as time goes on about putting the things that you're working on or that seem important to Google. It's going to pop them up at the beginning. Starred is the next section. So let's say I've read this thing from Monica. Okay, great, interesting, and I really think it's important. I have to make sure it's starred. I turn the star thing on. Now if I go back to my inbox, I'd have to reload here. You can see that Monica's message has stayed in the starred section. It's no longer unread, but let's say it's something I'm going to deal with today, or really I need to keep this message for a time to refer back to it. Starred is a way to kind of keep that handy. Okay, so you have important and unread. Here's the starred one. And then everything else. This is kind of like your inbox used to be. It's everything other than the things that Google says are important or you say are important. Okay? So if I want to move something up there, if I get correspondence from Annie and I think it's important, I mark it as important, and you're going to see it'll go. Now the next time Annie sends me something, it's going to end up in the important range. Okay? So you don't want to ignore everything else, but the ones you're going to have especially over time, are going to be the most important to you, are the ones that show up at the top. You star them to keep them handy. Now the other thing I want to talk about is the concept called zero inbox. That means you should really work hard at not having anything in here. other than maybe the starred things that you are as an ongoing project that you need to work on right now, it is distracting to you mentally and also visually to have these kind of things. Okay, so I can take anything and use the little archive button, which is over here, and archive them by clicking them and archiving. I can also go on a singular button and click archive one by one. Okay, so it's probably faster to do things quickly. You can click all of them, all your messages, and I'm gonna take these two off and I'm gonna archive them. Poof. Okay, that's pretty cool. And then you can start to see how I'm getting sort of a better visual thing when I don't open my email and get overwhelmed by it. I have important unread, starred, and then if anyone sent me a new message that wasn't really known to me or that Google didn't see as important or urgent, it would put them down here. Okay, so already you're starting with a cleaner look. Now, talking about archiving, most of the time you want to get a message and send a response and archive what you did. You're done. You finished. You moved on. Not always, but a lot of times that happens. So it's a cool setting. Up we go up to this gear thing and see all settings. And we look down. Well, there's lots and lots of things you can do under here. But one of them is, it says send an archive. It says show send an archive button in reply. I'll show you what that does. So I click that. There's lots of other settings you can go in here, and you already know about the vacation responder. I click save. Now, okay, let's say I've got this message from the administrator, and I get it, and I'm like, oh, okay, I've got to respond to this, and then I want to get rid of it. When I click reply, and I say thanks, blah blah blah, whatever this is related to, you can see there's a new button here. It says send and archive. So now instead of pushing send, when I push that, it sends the message and it'll all automatically archive. You see how much cleaner my mailbox is. So by using that little button, first off, you have to turn it all on in settings, and then using that button every time you reply to something, you're going to keep a cleaner look. Now, once in a while, you're not going to want to archive things. You're going to want to, if it's an ongoing message and you want to keep it fresh in your mind, you might just say send, and then it's going to just show up the way it used to down in this everything else. But that's kind of a cool thing. All right, so that's the priority mailbox. When inbox, it breaks these into 3 sections. You don't have to use it. It's one that I recommend because it helps me keep organized. But you can certainly look back under here, under these, and look at other ones that there's one unread first, unimportant first, starred first. You can kind of go through these and then look at the pane and what you think is going to work best for you. I like it the way it is right now. Okay, so you got a nice clean mailbox now. When I want to compose or do whatever I want, it's nice and clean. All right. Another way that you can use help keep your inbox clean, free of unread message or distracting items, basically, is called the snooze button. So let's say I've got a meeting from Rick Park, and it's a meeting about next Tuesday, and I already know about it. I'm ready. I've got what I need, but I want this to come back. I'm going to snooze it and have it come back, say, next Monday or something like that. So these buttons, as I hover over the email button, you can see the one at the far right called snooze. Click on that, and you have different, you can do an exact pick of time. But I'm going to say, I want this to show up next week, Monday at 8 a.m. I click on that. You see, now my inbox is clean again, but that message at 8 a.m. on Monday is going to pop back up, and it'll be a little bit of a reminder from me and help me get ready for whatever that is involved with that meeting. Okay, so that's called the snooze button. That's a handy one. Okay, more things that can help you organize your emails are labels. So basically, it's like a folder in mail. And if you see under this your little box on the left hand side, you go to more. You can manually create labels. So So you create a new label and you call it whatever project you're working on, and then when you get emails, you start fishing them into that label. I don't use labels much because I know how powerful the search mechanism is in this Gmail, but you can create one there, or super easy way to do it is let's say I'm working on a project with Rick Park, and I'm going to want to keep these emails in a project folder called Project X. So here's Rick Park, here's a mail, and I can go over these little dots on the right hand side, and I can say filter message like this, and I'm going to say has a subject, I don't know, you can fit it whatever you want in here, but it's saying right now it's going to take any message from Rick Park at Gmail, and I'm going to create a filter, and I'm going to use lots of stuff you can do here. You can skip the inbox and automatically archive it. Say, I don't really want to, I want to keep these emails, but I don't really need to read them. You can star them automatically if you were in the process of doing some kind of project you want it was important at the time. You can create a new label, and you might call this project X or whatever, and you could put it as a nested label under another one, but that's Project X, and you could automatically forward it, delete it. You have tons of options here, and you create a filter. Now if you look under, I was going to refresh this real quick. If I look under what emails I have available now, I can see I have a Project X folder. If I go under there, there's one email so far. Well, anything I send from Rick Park will now be under that. So let's go, and I'm going to send a fresh mail and have this come directly there. Okay, I just sent another message from Rick Park, more on Project X, and you can see how it automatically added this label or the tag on it saying Project X. You can also take that original one. There's lots of ways to do that. I can drop it into Project X. So I've got in that folder now, I should have two things. Any future emails that come from Rick Park are going to end up in this folder. They'll still be in your inbox, and especially if you marked them as important, they're going to show up in the top and the important and unread, but you're automatically categorizing them. Now, I mentioned earlier that I don't use this that much because of the search feature. Up here in Gmail, you know that you can type and say find all things that include Project X just by doing and there we go. There's different projects. I didn't do X, I just did project. But if you don't neglect this little button here, and this is really going to let you dig in. So I want that has words in it that include project. I know it's from Rick Park. If you knew subjects doesn't have, I only want to look at the things that have attachments or don't have attachments. You can also pick, I know I got that email between such and such date. You search and then it pulls them up. So the power of this this search tool, in my mind, negates the whole need to do labels for all your to take the time, I guess, to organize all your stuff using these labels. To me it's too much work when I can just go search for whatever I want and find it. But a lot of people don't like that. If you like to categorize, you're one of those people, then you're gonna love labels, and that's something you can use a lot and organize your systems that way. Okay.